Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Huseynova and I welcome you again on my channel eye.Dr. Tuti. Today I would like to talk with you about the main 10 steps of how to start your own research project. In the previous presentation before, I talked about how to prepare yourself for international science, and today we're going to talk about how to start preparing or writing your own research project. So there are just 10 main steps, and let's start with the first step. First step is define the patients. When we know already what exactly we would like to describe, we know already which patients we're going to include in the study. What we do for that, we just collect all these necessary patients and can just put separately in one shelf of, in our practice. And believe me, the more data of patients you have, the better and more reliable your study will be. So even if you have sometimes patients not only from your own practice or from your own patients, you may also collaborate with your colleagues and use patients from their data. Next step, define the parameters. You have your patients and you know already the topic of your research project, and of course for that you know already which parameters, main parameters you're going to include in your project. For that you're going to just check the data of your patients and check if they have all these necessary parameters you need. And no matter which exactly follow-up, pre-operative or post-operative follow-up you need, you just better check everything, whether you have it or not. In case when you don't have it, you always can call patients and just make an additional appointment of them to come and make the necessary examinations in order to get all these necessary parameters. Believe me, patients like when you care about them, and even when you call them and make them additional appointment, from their side it's going to be considered as a care from a doctor, so you're not losing anything. Next step, collect the data. You have your patients, you have your parameters, then you can start collecting the data. It's always useful and always convenient to prepare the data in Excel file. So you just make the necessary columns. For example, in this slide, you can see like a table and columns of necessary data like name, ID, date of birth, age, eye, uncorrected distance visual acuity, UDVA, CDVA. You can put any parameter you need in this column and just collect the data. Next step, fourth step, form the data. For me personally, once I put input, let's say like that, all the necessary parameters and information of patients in Excel file, I like to organize it properly, whether color the title of the columns or use different sheets in the Excel file. So it's just for me personally very convenient later to work on this file. Well, it's up to you of course, but I met many people who usually also do this, and I took it from them actually when I was working during my research fellowship, and I found it very convenient and very useful to work on this data later. Next step, analyze the data. So you have your all Excel file with all the patient's information inside, then you can start to analyze the data. The most simple way of starting your analyzing is just putting the information about average, maximum, minimum and standard deviation information. For example, in this slide you can see here AV, which is average, maximum, minimum and standard deviation. So this is like a simple starting of calculation. After that you can start to calculate and make your statistical analysis in the data. Step number 6, prepare the graphs. So you have your data, you have your statistical calculation, then you are ready to start preparing your graphs. For me personally, I always like to prepare graphs in the same Excel file where I have all the information of my project. So I just create like different sheets in this file where I just title it as figures or graphics. It's just up to you. You can title it any way you want, and just start to prepare graphics. Believe me, it's very easy to prepare graphics and figures in Excel file, and later it will just help you a lot and will be easy to write and prepare your manuscript. Yeah, and step number 6 is prepare graphs and figures. Step number 7. As I already mentioned, when you start analyzing your data, you start with a simple analysis, such as average, minimum, maximum, and standard deviation, and statistical analysis. Believe me, this all information is the information which basically used when you prepare the tables, because you put all this information usually in tables. And having already this information, just prepare your tables. And this is the 7 steps. Why I'm telling about graphics and tables now before starting writing your manuscript? Because it's just from my own experience. When I was, again, during my research fellowship, I was writing an article and I submitted in one journal, and I got a very nice review from one of the editors, and this review and this comment actually stayed in my mind until now, because it was very useful for me. Well, of course, at this manuscript I had a few mistakes, because it was one of my first manuscripts which I submitted. So the comment was that when we look into graphs, at the graphs and tables of any research project, based on figures and tables, we already should be able to estimate about the main purpose of the study, about the outcomes and material and methods and everything. So figures and tables, they should just give us already the basic information of your project, of your study. And that's why for me, after this comment, before starting writing my article, I always prepared graphics, tables, and for me it was then later easy to write my manuscript. And it's just like I had a skeleton on my article already when I prepare figures, tables, and abstract. And preparing abstract is going to be the 8th step of your progression, let's say like that. So when you have already everything, your calculation, your tables, your figures, and your numbers, you can already prepare the abstract. And in abstract, here in the slide, you can see it's just a sample of, it's one of my abstract of my published article. And so abstract usually has the purpose, methods, results, and conclusion. And most of all, abstract, there are many journals, they have like a limited accepted numbers of words in the abstract. So that's why usually I prepare abstract like with 250 words. Just because later when I have more words, for example 300 or 350, and I want to submit my manuscript in one of the journals, and when they have like a limited accepted words number, then I have to cut it, and of course this is just additional work. That's why it's just easier to write an abstract from the beginning with 250 words, so you don't have to cut or change anything later. Step number 9, collect the references. So you have your abstract, you have your fundamental skeleton of your manuscript, like graphics, tables, and then what you do, you just collect references, because there is no research article without referring to previously published literature. And of course there are going to be plenty of articles which can be somehow connected with your future project. That's why what I did personally, I created just one file in my computer and just collect all the necessary literature and references in this file, which I could use later in writing manuscript. And step number 10, start now. You have your basic steps of how to write your article. So believe me, if you follow these steps, you will do a very nice project. And even if it's not perfect from the first time, believe me, writing it the second time, the third time, you will just get the experience and you will make it much better. Don't hesitate to ask your supervisors or your colleagues who has maybe already the experience of how to write it. Don't hesitate to ask them their advice and share with them if you have any problems, and just ask for help. Anytime you can connect also with me when you need something. Thank you for watching this video. I'm wishing you a good day. Bye.